Dear child, this is a spiritual reflection, not a prediction. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I want you to breathe slowly as you read this, because the angels are asking for your attention, not to rush you, not to overwhelm you, but to steady your heart while truth settles gently into place. Your name has been spoken, not lightly, not accidentally, not in a passing conversation that fades as quickly as it arrives. This time, it came from their family, and when your name entered that space, something sacred happened. The angels say the atmosphere changed in a way no one could explain with logic. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was still, heavy, honest. The kind of stillness that comes when truth finally decides to stand up and speak for itself. I know you didn't see this moment coming. I know there were times when I felt forgotten, when I wondered if anyone truly understood your heart or noticed how carefully you tried to love without losing yourself. But the angels are saying that while you were living quietly, staying grounded, staying kind, staying faithful to who you are, eyes were on you, ears were open, hearts were observing, especially within their family. Someone there had been carrying a truth for a long time. They tried to keep it buried because it felt complicated, because admitting it would shift dynamics, because acknowledging you meant questioning old opinions, old fears, old expectations. But heaven doesn't allow what is meant to heal to stay hidden forever. And in a moment that felt ordinary on the surface, your name was spoken, and it carried emotion with it. The angels say it wasn't gossip, it wasn't judgment, it wasn't curiosity, it was recognition. Someone said your name, and it came with honesty, with weight, with feeling. And when they said it, the room didn't argue back. No one rushed to change the subject. No one laughed it off, because everyone felt the same thing, even if they hadn't admitted it yet. This is important, dear child. Family doesn't speak like that unless something real has already been happening behind the scenes. They don't mention you with that kind of tone unless your presence has left a mark. They have been watching quietly how you show up, how you stay consistent, how you don't become bitter when things are unclear. They noticed how your energy doesn't bring chaos, but calm, how your name doesn't stir drama, but peace. And yes, you may not have known this. You may have gone through nights where I questioned whether any of it mattered, whether staying soft was worth it, whether remaining kind made you invisible. But the angels are very clear here. You were never invisible. Your name has been carrying favor in rooms you've never entered. Heaven was speaking for you long before you realized anyone was listening. One voice in that family finally broke the silence. One person said what the others felt but were afraid to admit. Something simple, something honest, like there's something about them. And once that sentence was spoken, the rest couldn't deny it anymore. Memories surfaced. Your smile, your words, your presence, the way you made their child calmer, more thoughtful, more real. And suddenly, what they once questioned began to make sense, because what surprised them most wasn't just who you are, it was who you remained. You didn't become cold. You didn't become reactive. You didn't try to force your way into being seen. You stayed true. You stayed grounded. You stayed prayed up. And that consistency spoke louder than any explanation ever could. The angels say this is where the shift truly happened. Their family didn't just notice you. They noticed the change in their son or daughter, the growth, the softness, the peace. They noticed how your name carries warmth instead of tension. How, when you're mentioned, something gentle enters the conversation. And that's when the questions started forming. The ones they never dared to ask before. Why does thinking about you bring peace? Why does your name linger after the conversation ends? Why does their child feel different, more settled, more awake, more honest because of you? And slowly, the truth unraveled. You were never just a passing chapter. You were a turning point. You were the one they didn't expect, the one they once resisted, the one they labeled as too different, or too spiritual, or too hard to understand. But now those labels are dissolving, because what once confused them is humbling them. Your love isn't loud. It doesn't perform. It doesn't demand. It simply stands, and heaven honors that kind of love. The angels want you to know this deeply. It wasn't your appearance they were discussing. It wasn't status or material things. It was your spirit. Someone in that family felt it strongly enough to say, I don't know why, but they have a light on them. And when that was spoken, it didn't just stay in the room. It reached your soulmate's heart. Your soulmate felt it immediately. Even if they didn't say a word, something inside them responded with intensity, with truth, with fire. They've been carrying these feelings quietly, trying to manage them alone, trying to stay composed, trying not to shake what feels so real. But when someone they respect echoed what their heart already knew, it became harder to ignore, harder to delay, harder to hide behind fear. The angels call this a holy echo. When heaven uses another voice to confirm what God has already been whispering to the soul. And once that echo happens, movement begins. Now the family dynamic is changing, because when family begins to see, pressure shifts, resistance softens, doors that felt closed begin to loosen. The angels say the fear is melting, the silence is shifting, and your name is being spoken with more grace than ever before. I want you to pause here. The same space where you once felt excluded is now echoing with you. The same people who didn't understand you are beginning to speak well of you, not because you proved anything, not because you forced acceptance, but because truth rose on its own time. Someone in that family is praying now, not casually, not vaguely, praying for clarity, for unity, for understanding. And yes, dear child, you are part of that prayer, because they are realizing this is not just about preference, it's about purpose. They are starting to ask, what if this is God? And when that question enters a family's heart, everything changes. Your soulmate feels the shift too, even if there are no words yet, even if the silence remains for a moment longer. Something inside them has awakened. They feel pulled toward you with urgency and depth, not just desire, direction, not just emotion, recognition. That family moment lit something in them that cannot be put out. They are thinking, reflecting, praying, realizing that the conversation wasn't just about you. It was about their future, and your name was woven all through it. Hear this gently now. You don't have to force what's coming. You don't have to chase clarity or beg to be chosen. The door that opened was opened by truth, not effort, by divine timing, not striving, by a moment heaven arranged when someone finally spoke what had been held back for too long. The angels say you are no longer a debate. You are becoming a decision. You are no longer seen as a risk, but as a revelation. You are being spoken of with dignity, with honor, with sincerity, and that changes everything. Stay soft, stay grounded, stay open. The angels say this unfolding is not finished. The silence is preparing to become sacred speech. What was delayed is aligning. What was hidden is moving. And what you thought was passing you by was actually positioning you for a moment that will make sense of everything that came before. The angels say your soulmate is no longer battling in silence the way they used to. Something has shifted, and it's not just inside their heart, it's around them. Their family is carrying this with them now. Their family is thinking about it. Their family is feeling it. Their family is paying attention. And beloved, that's not small. That's not random. That's not just conversation. The angels say it's strategic because when God is building covenant, He doesn't only speak to two hearts. He begins to move the environment too. He starts turning resistance into reflection. He starts turning no into let's understand. He starts turning distance into preparation. I can feel the angels whispering that the resistance that once stood like a wall has started to bow. Not because anyone forced it, not because anyone begged for it, but because truth has a way of softening what fear hardened. And I know you remember how confusing it felt, how one day it seemed close, and the next day it felt far, how the silence felt like rejection, how the waiting felt like punishment, how the delay tried to convince me that I imagined the whole thing. But the angels say, no, beloved. The silence was not a sentence. It was a sacred process. And now the process is producing fruit. They see you differently now. The angels say they're looking at you with new eyes. Eyes softened by truth. Eyes focused by time. Eyes filled with divine awareness. What they questioned before, they're starting to confirm. What they dismissed before, they're starting to honor. What they tried to bury before, they're starting to protect. And you need to hear this gently. It wasn't that you weren't enough. It was that their heart wasn't ready to hold what you are. The angels keep circling back to this. This is not just a relationship story. This is a God-ordained journey. And when God ordains something, it doesn't mean it's always easy. It means it's purposeful. It means it's shaped. It means it's guided. Isaiah 46:10 reminds us that God's purpose stands, and He accomplishes what He intends. You didn't have to force this into existence. You didn't have to manipulate the outcome. You didn't have to fight for a seat at a table God already wrote your name into. You waited in faith when it hurt, when it felt lonely, when it felt like everyone else was moving forward, and I was standing still. And the angels say heaven noticed the kind of waiting that didn't turn bitter, the kind of patience that didn't turn cruel, the kind of love that didn't turn into revenge. And here is where the message gets tender. The angels say one conversation became a key. One moment, one talk, one confession, one honest exchange shifted the whole atmosphere. A key doesn't look like a miracle, but it opens what a miracle needs to enter. And now that key is unlocking hearts. The heart of your soulmate, the heart of their family, the heart of your future. That's why things feel different in your spirit lately. That's why even on days when nothing happens, you still feel like something is moving. That pull in your chest, that quiet peace after tears, that stillness in your mind. The angels say it's alignment. I'm hearing their inner questions getting louder now. The angels say your soulmate is asking things they didn't even allow themselves to ask before. What would life look like with them? What would it mean to build something real? What if this is the one I'm meant to cover, love, and protect forever? And the angels say those questions used to scare them, but now the answers are starting to feel sacred, peaceful, grounded, like something they could actually step into without losing themselves. Proverbs 19:21 reminds us that many plans live inside a person, but God's purpose prevails. And the angels say God's purpose is prevailing now, not emotion, not fear, not delay. And beloved, I need to say this softly. What is rising in their heart is not just love, it's readiness. Readiness to speak, readiness to stop hiding behind timing as an excuse, readiness to stop pretending they don't care, readiness to choose. The angels say they're tired of performing strength while privately breaking, tired of acting unbothered while secretly replaying your name in their mind, tired of postponing truth because they wanted the perfect moment. And the angels say a holy realization has hit them. The perfect moment is the one where truth leads, and truth is leading now. I'm sensing they're preparing a conversation that explains everything. The hesitation, the silence, the delay, the growth. Not excuses, not vague words, but clarity. And when that conversation comes, the angels say you'll finally hear what your spirit has been trying to trust all along. You were never forgotten, never ignored, never just a chapter. You were the vision. Habakkuk 2:3 speaks about the vision appointed for the right time, how it may seem slow, but it will come. And the angels say that appointed time is approaching close enough that your body can feel it. They are rehearsing it already. What to say, how to say it, how to keep their voice steady, how not to fall apart while speaking what they've held back for so long, because they know once it's spoken, everything changes. And the angels say they want it to change. They're done running, done hiding, done almost, done half steps. And you, dear child, you don't have to chase them into truth. The angels say heaven is guiding them into it. John 16:13 reminds us that the Spirit of truth guides us into truth. And that's what the angels say is happening. Guidance, holy nudging, sacred confirmation, even in their dreams, even through other people, even in unexpected places. A song that hits too hard, a sermon that feels personal, a stranger's words that land like a sign, a memory that won't stop resurfacing. Everywhere they turn, something leads back to you, not as obsession, but as revelation, not as fantasy, but as recognition.